you could have seats in front of you with heads and stuff in front of you. You don't know what kind of situation you're going to find yourself in. So in a situation like this, let's say I'm in a movie theater, and I'll tell you what I'll do, just to kind of drive the point home. If I'm in a situation like this, right, there's several different options that we train to, right, and we do a lot of shooting from a seated position. So the one thing that I want to do is situational awareness. I might not know who's to my left or to my right, who's in front of me, behind me. So if something kicks off and I have the time, only if I determine that I have the time, would I want to do what I call a discrete scan. And that discrete scan is me just looking around to make sure that there's nothing hinky going on to my left or right, front, rear, or whatever. I know what's around me, because the last thing I want to do is all of a sudden I'm going to be the hero. I'm going for my gun and I get sucker punched from the side because this guy's in on it. All right. So I want to make sure that I'm doing those discrete scans. I'm looking around. I know what my surroundings are comprised of. Now from this point, I can do two things. There's two ways I can draw my gun in this situation. I can do a discrete draw, or I can do a dynamic draw. A discrete draw would be me slowly and carefully, as I'm looking around, going for my gun, coming out with my gun and getting ready to do whatever I need to do. All right. A dynamic draw would be, I don't have time to do these scans. I got to get that gun up and in the fight quickly, because it's happening faster than I can really process what's going on. So I'm not going to have the time to do the discrete part of it. All right. I need to just go into action. So no matter what, once I'm here, I've got several options. I've got seated shooting and shooting over the seat in front of me. Now there may be a head there. I may have to do this, right? Is that a perfect option? No, it's not. And even if I go from a seated to standing position and I decide this is my option, is that still good with somebody in front of me? It could very well pop up as I'm pulling that trigger and I shoot somebody in the back of the head. So the other thing is seating and leaning into an aisle or leaning into an open area. So from here, I'm going to lean out almost like from a barricaded position and shoot from this position. All right, so those are my options. Seated shooting, shooting leaning into the aisle, all right, or shooting and standing, or seated to standing shooting. Those are my options. Now, based on what I have around me, that's what I've got to draw that conclusion on my own as what would work best for me. If this person in front of me just went down, or they're taking cover and I can shoot from here, I'll shoot from there because I'm saving myself time, right? If this person, you don't know exactly what they're doing and I can lean out, I want to lean out, because as soon as I stand up, what am I doing? I'm a target. Because a lot of times if something happens out in front of you, especially in an active shooter event, you know, what's the people's first reaction when they hear a loud noise?
Scream and run.
Right? Or this, you know, that's their first reaction. They want to get down. Now, in an event like that, where everybody is doing this, all of a sudden I'm doing this, what does that tell the person in front of me? I'm the threat, okay? So what we're going to do is, we're going to go over different portions of this, and these chairs are going to be out of the way, all right? So we're not going to have this. What we're going to do is we're going to do seated shooting. So on the command of up, what I want you to do is I want you to kind of look around left and right, all right? We're going to do discrete. So I want you to draw, eyes and ears. I always forget that. I want you to draw. I want you to shoot 2 rounds, right? And then I want you to come up to a standing position and start getting your 360-degree awareness, all right? That's seated shooting. If I say seated shooting, you're taking those 2 rounds or 3 rounds or whatever you decide to shoot, you're shooting them from right here. 2 rounds, right? Then you're coming up to that standing position, because just like everything else we've done, I want to fight from my feet. So I come up to that standing position. If I say seated to standing, I'll have everybody work their way back to the holster. Seated to standing, dynamic draw. What I want everybody to do is you're not going to bother looking around and seeing what's around you. When I give you the command of up, you're standing, you're drawing, and you're shooting 2 rounds as soon as you get up on your feet. If you hit a reload, get your reload, right through it. Right, then post-engagement actions, and then work your way back to the holster. All right? My t-shirt's getting all jacked up. So, the third option is going to be if I tell you seated, leaning into the aisle. I'll just say leaning into the aisle because that's what I'm used to, leaning into the aisle. So, seated, leaning into the aisle. What I want you to do is I want you to draw the weapon, right? You're looking around, you draw the weapon, you come up, and you're going to lean out. I'll tell you to lean to the left or lean to the right, okay? I'll give you that command. You're going to lean out. Right? You're going to take your 2 shots, and then you're going to go to your feet, 360-degree awareness, and you're ready to haul ass out of there if you need to. Okay? So does anybody have any questions? Let's get everybody covered down online.